Basically, there's difference in words, and this is where the ones that are basically that that are predators take advantage of people like myself. By telling me that I need to go to legal aid, or I need to have an attorney, and all that kind of stuff, and not giving me the exact definitions of the not giving me the spellings of words, not giving me the exact definitions of words being used. And so basically, I've already shown where government debt is covered, and where courts are illegal. And the ones that are sitting there and fighting me on this stuff basically have been caught with their pants down. Um, which also gets into uh the definition of some other words. There's a word um that basically it deals with the word fraud, and that's where I've written give me the statute of limitations on fraud. So the ones that have been involved uh or just sitting there and choosing to act deaf, dumb, and blind. And as far as things go, what it is um I'm going to go to this word right here. So basically, it deals with a word called subterfuge, and that basically when which also deals with deviousness and deceit, deception, dishonesty, cheating, and all that kind of stuff. Cunning, craftiness, slyness. But anyhow, so what it is just like the one that's a stockbroker and didn't disclose to me that one was a stockbroker. That's something that where I should have been given full disclosure of any and all conflicts of interest. So what it is that there's something called hazing, and basically schools have a no hazing policy. And then not only that, um schools have a no bullying policy. And then so uh ba- ba- uh the charters required that I was to be given an education to be able to enjoy my fruits. So then all of a sudden I find out that books and classes and samples and stuff were intentionally kept from me. That's a violation of the charters. One example of books and classes and samples is uh, books and samples and classes that I've not been given are contracting classes. Another example is uniform commercial code classes, and I've never been given examples on how to fill out forms correctly. So then basically what it is there's something called personal identifiers. And I'm just going in through it to hold on a minute. Personal identifiers are like my voice, my DNA, the way my face looks, or like facial, what's called facial recognition, my handwriting, and all that kind of stuff. So that also gets into something called force. So when basically when I'm forced to give out my personal identifiers, um, that's where forcing me to do something is not my consent. So what it is when I'm forced to go where I don't want to go, then that is defined as being kidnapped. And then so government phones have, hold on a second, have caller IDs. So when somebody acts dumb, uh, acts blind, and then basically uses their position in public office to record my voice saying the word spelled YES, then my public servants in public office with keys to government buildings that I don't have are my identity thievers. And not only that, hold on a second. Basically, phones have what is called ringers. So when somebody sits there who's in public office with keys to a government building that I don't have, and ends up just acting deaf when they're not deaf, um, then it's just like, I mean, it's just they're intentionally trying to frustrate me is what it boils down to. And so that's where it gets into this, that basically I have the right to fire the public servants for not having licenses from an independent state licensing agency for what they're calling themselves for as far back as I can remember from the beginning. But not only that, I have the right to appoint myself to position as a beneficiary for his far back as I can remember from the beginning. And this is also where it deals specifically with the Sesquiv Trust, or the SETI K. And that's the real reason why the ones involved have been doing dirty dealing. What it is there's something called the SETI K Trust, and they know that I walk and I talk and I breathe, and that's the reason why they refuse to write down and give me the statute of limitations on fraud. And that's the reason why I also that's the reason why it deals with full disclosure, but also deals with the appearance of a bias or fraud, and that's just it. So when somebody intentionally has been deceptive and stuff, oh, hold on a minute. Full disclosure. So that violates my right to be able to make informed decisions. So it's like, why would I want to? That deals with, like, when I'm not given full disclosure as far as what are called pharmaceutical drugs, and when it attacks me on what is it attacks my DNA on what is called the cellular level, more specifically the mitochondrial level, then I have a right to be given the names of who writes the public servants insurance. Yeah, I have the right to be given copies of any and all licenses from an independent state licensing agency, for what the public servants are calling themselves. And then so when um so when basically hold on. So when stress causes high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack, and death, um, I have the right to have who is premeditatedly murdering me by not giving me whatever I want or need, since government debt is covered, uh, prosecuted for premeditatively murdering me. And to make sure that not only are they not murdering me, but they're not murdering people who are like me. So when somebody has lied about working by not giving me my part of public utilities and constitutionally protected Social Security, then I have the right for them to not only be fired, but to force them to give back whatever they were paid for for intentionally not giving me my part of public utilities. And what it is one of the ones that was involved in doing stuff, but basically knowingly not only lied to me, but was involved in hazing me and didn't disclose that that one has a real estate license. Is a real estate agent. And but there's also the reason why there's supposed to be a separation of powers clause. So when there are lawyers on top of every government corporation, then that's a violation of separation of powers clause. And so for them to for a lawyer to be given preferential treatment by being given brokerage licenses and not disclose that to me, that's an example of me not being given full disclosure. And so for the lawyers to be involved with hazing me when schools have not only hazing me but also bullying me, I don't want lawyers in public office. I really don't. I'm sick and tired of the junk that they do. And especially when one of them talks about, not only that, I don't like schools in America giving preferential treatment to immigrants to come to America who have lied to immigration as to why came to America and have given no evidence of being in fear of being murdered in country immigrated from, and leave America to go back to the country that they lied to immigration about being in fear of being murdered, and then come back into America and then leave to go back to the country immigrated from, and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And have been imploding America from within. And not only that, are known for having little pinky fingernails like the movie Scarface with Al Pacino in it. And acting stupid about what they're doing. And what they've done is that they have put hidden cameras into buildings, government buildings, to record my voice saying the word spelled Y-E-S, and have done things like had the desk drawer open, and that's the reason why I think that there were tape recorders inside the desk drawers, and my voice was recorded saying the word spelled Y-E-S. And And that's what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And so when I look at the ones that are doing this stuff and realize that the courts are rigged, uh, that's exactly what they are. They're rigged. So basically, identity theft. So when somebody acts stupid and uses my personal identifiers on accounts that I don't control, and acts dumb about recording my voice saying the word spelled YES, and does the other crap that they do. Same thing with electronic signatures. That's where Mr. William Gates is involved by not sitting there and doing things to what is it, scramble or what. I'm not a computer geek, but anyhow, to sit there and have it what and see fingerprints. So basically, when I'm forced to give my personal identifiers into computers that I don't do, then basically that's where. And the thing is I don't have the ability to be able to do a forensic audit on the accounts that were for my benefit, that are for my benefit, and so that's the reason why I think that a forensic audit not only would determine on the SETI K accounts and the accounts for my benefit would indicate who has been hazing me. It would also identify who has been acting stupid about doing what they're doing and who is most likely uh, taking classes in different things in banking, and basically has intentionally used their training and education in banking, computers, and whatever else in order to intentionally deceive me. And that's the reason why the ones involved are refusing to write down the statute of limitations on fraud and are just acting dumb about what they're doing. And so basically, this also deals with the word exploiting. And then so what it is the ones that do it basically know what they're doing. There's no doubt in my mind that they know exactly what they're doing. And it's just like Miss Frenchie sitting there and not disclosing to me that she's a stockbroker and the stuff, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, uh, I find out that her mother's a real estate agent after the fact and all that kind of stuff, and her husband has a MBA degree, and then it's just like, I mean, it's just like, and then just sitting there and acting stupid about what they're doing. And then so what it is it also personal identifiers are like my handwriting. So basically, when I'm forced to give my personal identifiers like handwriting, how difficult would it be for somebody who has my handwriting that I was forced to give, and to basically make something up and make it seem like I had written something up when I hadn't. And then so that's also where it gets into the ones that force me to fill out labels and stuff, and I mean, how difficult would it be to sit there and peel a label off of something and then put it into something that I never consented to it being put onto. It's like being forced to fill out pieces of paper to be able to speak at a government meeting and that kind of stuff. I mean, and also being forced to have to play little guessing games like, how much do I owe you? And it's just like, when I look at who is involved and how most of them have been given brokerage licenses and didn't disclose to me what they were actually up to. I mean, it's just like I just feel like saying, I mean, and I look at the ones that do it. It's just like calling themselves building principles and whatever else, and not disclosing what they're actually up to. What it is my personal identifiers are used on accounts that I don't control. So why wouldn't I be upset about it? And the ones that basically were involved in doing it are just acting dumber than mud about what they did and telling me to go forward. I'm like, well, what about holding them? Why not go back and look at what they've done? And then when I look at the ones that are most definitely trained and educated in banking, I mean, one of them sat there and tried to break my neck, and his wife just sat there and acted stupid about him trying to break my neck. When I said I heard my neck snap when I fell backwards in the water. Well, let's just sit there and act fucking stupider than mud. And just like another one sitting there and handing me a drink, and it most definitely was poisoned. And so I'm like, I'm getting sick, and so I went running into the bathroom and was puking my guts out. Oh, let's just sit there and hover around the phone and just act stupid about giving me a drink that was laced with some kind of poison and act stupid. And so what they do is they typically end up doing things like isolate me in that way. Oh no, we didn't do that. No. And then so what they do is that they have their hair just perfectly placed and perfectly dressed and all that. Oh no. Look at me. Look at what I do. And in reality what they're doing is they're acting benevolent, but they're not. They're not benevolent at all. I mean, and then so things like telling me, "Oh no, don't bring anything. We got it covered." So basically, the reason why they ended up doing that is because if I had brought something, then that would have been called consideration. And then so they just sit there and they act stupid about not telling me why it is that they told me not to bring something. And oh no, we got it covered. I mean, how many times have I heard that friggin' line? And another phrase is onward and upward. And oh, the word summit. And what else? There's just different phrases that are used, and I just feel like puking my guts out. And then so they sit there and act stupid and like, and it's just like the propensity to sit there and be told something after the fact, and I'm just like, well, why wasn't I told that up front? I mean, don't sit there and pretend like you told me something that I should have been told up front and been given full disclosure of, and so sign up right and give me any and all conflicts of interest. Oh, time to act stupid now. Let's act like we got dementia. Um, and then so basically, somebody that acts deaf. That's what. as people get older, they lose their ability to hear. So, and then act blind because people, as people get older, end up having to typically wear glasses or bifocals or trifocals. And then let's act deaf, like, oh, I didn't hear the phone ring. And so that's the reason why I think that they're calling themselves church elders. But that also deals with, and that's also the reason why they've been cramming religion onto me. Oh, pick, what religion are you? Well, it's just kind of like, well, what if I don't want to be any religion? And then that also goes back to Christopher Columbus forcing religion onto people who were in the dirt or the called America way before Christopher Columbus. And so it's simple things like I was lied to about how safe Europe and England were would be, and I mean I was robbed, and I can't even tell you about the number of horror stories that I mean things I have firsthand knowledge. I mean I was beat up at the French Riviera. I was robbed in Italy. Um, Italians ended up pulling out cocaine out of their front pocket. And I was like, oh, jeez. And all I could think about was that there was some movie about some guy that was an American that ended up going into Turkey, I think it was. All of a sudden, next thing you know, is he's getting busted for all sorts of stuff. I mean, talk about horrified. And and then just the absurdity of always saying, "Oh, had a great time. It was great." It just was more BS of being forced to say something that I didn't want to say. And I look back at it, it's just like, I mean, how many times, how many times should I just have said, I hated going to Italy, I hated going to Europe, I hated going to the French Riviera, I hated going, being forced to go where basically I wasn't even told what to do if I had a problem. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. And that's where I would say that the ones involved were negligent. Never told me what to do if I had any kind of problem. Never even, I mean, I just look at the stuff and I think they were extremely negligent. Just like the ones at the Department of Education who intentionally kept books for, on uniform commercial codes, kept books on contracting, kept samples of how to fill out forms correctly, and just sit there and act stupid about what they've done to me. And the thing is that I went to school to get an education and be able to enjoy my fruits. I didn't sit there and go to school to get stabbed with a pencil, and that's what happened to me when I was in elementary school. I didn't go to school to sit there and have somebody throw rocks at me. I mean, I had rocks thrown at me. I didn't go to school to have somebody just sit there and turn around and spit on me. That's also what happened. I mean, and I look at it, it's just like, wow. I mean, it's just like just the whole absurdity. So it's like So much of the stuff happened before I was the age of majority, and I look at it just like, okay, I'm past the age of majority, but it's just like, I mean, it's like, I still have not been given the classes and the samples and the books and basically what I should have been given. And then I'm gonna get into something else that just really irritates the crap out of me. So basically, the ones involved knowingly knew that lawyers had no intention. Oh no, hold on. There's something called the Privacy Act. And then so basically, when my right to privacy has been violated, I mean that's a no no. And then so not only that, it's like there was a lawyer who literally took his hand, put it on the steering wheel, and grabbed it and yanked it. So I was in fear of being murdered, and that happened in America. And I'm like, oh, so I'm supposed to go to the courts and basically have a lawyer prosecute a lawyer. I mean, it's just like that's kind of like waiting for hell to freeze over. I mean, I'm just telling you like it is. I mean, it's just like when they go, "Oh, let me sit there and cherry pick who the fall guy's gonna be for this one. Oh, let me cherry pick," and it's just like the courts are so friggin' rigged. Just everything about it. But what it is the ones involved have formed so-called nonprofits, calling themselves limited liability corporations or foundations. And they're nothing but money laundering or racketeering for insiders. And so what they do is they sit there and then they have their little private parties for the attorney, for the state attorney general and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, oh crap. It's like I I have to laugh about it. I really do. It's just like it reminds me so much of that song. Uh, and even that guy lies. Ke- uh, Kenny Rogers. Kenny would be Kenneth. But anyhow, so sitting there and singing a song about know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away. It's just like that's the reason why I've had enough of the crap. I really have. I'm not gonna end up murdering myself. In fact, I ended up taking a pen and I used my own handwriting and I wrote on the wall that I have no intention on killing myself.